Welcome, everyone. I'm Mike Brashazade.
And I'm Ashley Ward.
And you're listening to the What Matters podcast, and our mission
to spotlight top RIAs, wealth managers, and investment professionals who are redefining wealth management.
Join us as we dive into their journey, strategies, and insights.
Whether you're an investor or an inspiring pro, this is for you.
Get ready for impactful conversations on the What Matters podcast. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of the What Matters podcast, where we explore the world of finance and beyond. I'm your host, Mike Brashazade.
And I'm Ashley Ward.
And today we have the pleasure of speaking with Denis Horrigan, partner and co-founder of Connecticut Wealth Management based in Farmington, Connecticut.
Denis's recognized expertise has resulted in numerous guest appearances on NBC Connecticut, Fox 61, and WTNH News 8. He has been quoted in articles, both local and national publications, including the Wall Street Journal and New York Times, and Hartford Business Journal, Investment News, and TheStreet.com. Thank you for joining us today, Denis.
Thank you, Ashley. Thanks, Mike. Good to see you guys.
We're excited to dive into some key topics with you today. Let's delve right into your journey and your origin story. So you've had over 25 years of experience in financial planning and wealth management. Your journey to co-founding Connecticut Wealth Management must be filled with valuable insights. Could you take us back to the beginning and share the experiences that led you to where you are today and the story behind building your RIA?
Gosh, the beginning. So I studied sociology in college, of course, sociology and education. And when I graduated college, I thought I might be a social worker or a teacher. I ended up moving to Boston. I got a job with a finance company that was miserable. I left that one. I went to Morgan Stanley, where I was a rookie broker in the bullpen, making 300 dials a day. I got out of there. I went to a bank brokerage advisory business, did that for a little while, then went to the institutional arm of Fidelity, where I was an investment consultant. Then I tried to start my own RIA, actually became the succession plan of another RIA that was a disaster. Ended up working I was a trust officer for a trust bank. Then I worked for an investment only RIA, and then joined an accounting firm that had a wealth management arm. So I feel like I've seen it all. You know, I've seen the good, I've seen the bad. And after going through 2008, my partner and I kind of looked at each other and said, boy, first of all, that was brutal. And secondly, I wonder if we should try to start our own thing, because I think we probably could do a better job than the way organizations are historically run. So what we did was we kind of took the best of our experiences, got rid of the worst, and we built Connecticut Wealth Management. And we built it, it's really unique. The idea was to really build a better mousetrap. So we built it on three major principles. One was we were going to be financial planning centric. We weren't going to claim that we were the smartest investment people in the world. We are smart, but that's just a little bit arrogant. And we also felt like you make more of a difference in people's lives by doing the financial planning piece of things. So we're going to be planning centric. We were going to operate as a team, meaning it wasn't just Dennis's clients and Kevin's clients, and we were all going to operate on each other's clients to make their experience as good as possible. And the third thing, which is super unique, is we weren't going to have any business development people. We were not going to pay people based on generating revenue or bringing in clients. We really wanted to focus on one thing: keep the clients we had. Just service the heck out of them, do financial planning, holistic financial planning, very deep financial planning that makes a difference in people's lives, and hope that that would actually catch on and people would value that, and that the business would kind of grow by word of mouth. I got to tell you though, the idea in the early years was not to grow, it was to survive. We did that, and then we started to grow pretty quickly now it's been 14 years that we've been together. So that's kind of the story. It was a very, very circuitous route to get to where we are today.
Really cool. Well, tell us a little bit about your firm there. You guys have, and you know, you have to understand that we get our data from the RIA database, and so if I'm wrong on that, don't hang me up by a ladder. It says here, you guys are at around, I believe, 2.1 or 2.2 billion AUM. Do you mind me asking if that's correct there?
Yeah. We're at about 3.5. We're at about 3.5 billion right now.
Oh, well, yeah, I was off. We were off.
That's
right.
Close.
Wow, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit, how did you grow to get to that? Did you guys do all organically? Did you do inorganic acquisitions? Um, how many advisors you guys have to get there? Please elaborate.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Mike. It's, gosh. So we have, as I mentioned, the focus was always on just keeping the existing clients that we had. We didn't have these grand aspirations for growth or to take over the world or anything. It was just really just to be a super genuine wealth management firm here in Connecticut and just take care of our clients. It was what I enjoyed. It's what Kevin enjoyed. It's what our team enjoyed. Our mission statement was and is turning life's aspirations into realities for our clients and for our teammates. So we kind of created this culture for clients and for teammates that was super genuine and very supportive and collaborative and kind. As as simple as a concept as that is, it's kind of rare. So we really grew organically. We started with 185 million 14 years ago, and we organically grew and grew and grew just by referral. We had people knock on our doors asking to join our firm as advisors, RIA firms. We have, at my age, a lot of people just by hanging around for a while. So a lot of the folks I knew in the industry who were interested in joining us. So there's been some inorganic growth. I think maybe a quarter of our growth has been inorganic and 3/4 of it has been organic. We have, 16, 17 advisors now, a team of about 65 folks here. And those advisors that we have, there's a career path for everyone. Everyone kind of knows the career path in front of them. No one has a number they need to hit in terms of bringing in new clients. They're really just tasked with taking care of clients. And I think if you get the incentives right for any business, whatever the business is, Mike, we were talking about the mortgage business that you used to be in. If you get the incentives right, you can do very, very well, both for you, for your teammates, and for your clients. It's not that complicated. Just don't be greedy and get the incentives right.
Right. And let me ask you this. So obviously you guys have grown to, look, at 3.5 billion, I can say that you're in the top 2.5% of wealth management companies are, right? Put it this way, over 500 million, you're in the top 5%. So with getting to that number there, where was the bulk of the growth? Where did the bulk of the growth happen there? Where were you guys at around 5 years ago?
Oh boy, 5 years ago. Gosh, that was pre-COVID. Who knows? I can't remember. It's hard to remember pre-COVID. I want to say maybe we were 2 billion, maybe billion and a half. Recently, the growth has come a lot from business owners. So when we started the business, we came out of an accounting firm, and we had a lot of docs as clients, a lot of physicians as clients, and they had their own practices. So I've been working with business owners my entire career. Starting this business with a lot of docs, we kind of cut our teeth more on business owners. And probably about 5 or 6 years ago, that population of business owners exploded. And so we continue to find more and more business owners that are looking for genuine help. I think our business model totally supports that because business owners know. So here's my take on business owners, being one myself. Business owners are worried about their teammates. They're worried about their benefits. They're worried about the competition. They're worried about profits. They're worried about, worried about taxes personally. They're worried about their personal financial plan. They're worried about their estate plan. They're worried about their insurances. They're worried about so much. They have so many things that are on their mind that keep them awake at night. And that's all the stuff that we take care of for business owners. Is we kind of organize all that. We coordinate all of that. We help them to manage their leadership team to make sure that they have a succession plan going forward. But the key is that we do that, and our clients know that we don't have any conflicts of interest. We don't sell anything. Our clients don't, or our advisors don't have goals to bring in X millions of dollars. Their compensation does not depend on them generating revenue.
Like that.
So the relationship with the client is so much more genuine. The work we do with business owners has been phenomenal, and they continue to refer us to their friends.
So tell me about the business owners, because if I can understand that correctly, when my twin brother and I, he's my business partner here as well, when we had our mortgage bank, we had probably around at our height 1,400 employees, right? So in we matched the 401k, and it would be through I think it was through John Hancock, if I can remember correctly. Is that the type of business? Is that what you mean by taking on businesses? Is you guys manage the 401ks and stuff for their employees, or
It's
can you
more
elaborate
than
there?
that, Mike. Yeah, so it's talking with the business owner about how do you attract and retain employees. Um, it might be the 401k plan. It might be suggesting that they take a creative approach to the match that they offer to their employees. It might be something like a deferred compensation plan, or it might be offering other benefits. It could be college, helping to pay college loans. So it's really consulting with that business owner to try to construct a plan for them that helps them attract and retain employees. We do manage 401k plans. We do that mostly as an accommodation to our business owner clients. It's not something that we're out there chasing. The idea again is to take care of our business owner clients, just take care of the people that we work with. And sometimes that means they're going to ask us to manage their 401k, but not always. The incentive is to service the heck out of people. So here's a challenge that other advisors have, whether they're accountants, attorneys, insurance people, or the traditional stockbroker or advisor. Their compensation, if you're an accountant or an attorney, your compensation depends on that client calling you. So there's a disincentive in the client's mind to call you. Well, that's not great. If you are a traditional advisor where you generate your income based on the revenue that you can extract from that business owner, the client knows it. And there's a little question mark in the back of their mind that is this advice that I'm getting from them pure? Is it in her best interest, or is it in my best interest? We eliminated those conflicts of interest. So the work we do with business owners, what we've done is we've freed up our team. You free up the advisors here to take care of clients, to really make a difference, and not feel that pressure of, oh gosh, I got to go out and find new clients. My opinion is most advisors in this industry want to take care of people, but they are stuck in a machine oftentimes that requires them to go out and generate revenue. That's not really what they want to do. They just want to take care of people. So we've freed up our advisors to just worry about taking care of their clients. That has resulted in reputation. Our brand is very strong, and we get referrals all the time. And so the way we operate here is everyone is salaried. Everyone here is salaried. There is incentive compensation. There's variable compensation, and it's based primarily on one thing: retention rate, client retention rate of the overall firm. So our retention rate is about 99.6% historically. We don't lose clients because our teammates, their variable compensation depends on us keeping clients, which means just service the heck out of folks. There's another thing that we do here that's a little bit unique, and that is that we average 35 clients per advisor. That is a fraction of the industry. And that allows our teammates to really dedicate the time to spend with their clients and their business owner clients who have super complex needs. So I think those kind of structural things that are different than our competition have allowed us to gain more and more market share. I will tell you though that if we didn't have the right people here, and if we didn't have the right incentives, it wouldn't work. Our people are phenomenal. They care a ton. They're genuine, nice people. There's no ego. We just had something happen this afternoon before I hopped on with you guys. We had someone here delivering something, and they dropped a glass, a big vase in the lobby. And I'm telling you, there had to be about 9 people that ran out to help clean up. I was out there with a mop, people are on their hands and knees with towels. People are just nice. And
really cool.
And it's kind of a low bar, isn't it? Just being nice, it makes you stand out. But that's the culture that we've created. That's the culture that is super critical to our success. We've been able to win Best Places to Work in Connecticut a number of times. yeah, it's not that we have a secret approach to tax mitigation, or that we've got a special way of constructing portfolios that reduces the volatility. It's just caring more.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about when you guys did do your inorganic growth structure there, and you have obviously have a culture at your company, right?
Yeah.
I take it everyone, I think everybody's under your umbrella. When you had brought the 25% inorganic growth on, how did you guys get them integrated into your firm?
Oh, that's a great question, boy. So the first thing to get straight and get right is the cultural fit. We have talked to a lot of folks. A lot of folks have talked to us about joining our firm, and we've said no, because there just isn't a cultural fit. So that's the first thing. It takes some time to kind of to date, to make sure that there is in fact a fit, to make sure that you have the same attitude towards client service, that you have the same approach to financial planning, that you have the same sense of humor. I mean, seriously, those things are important. And so that takes a lot of time. Once the integration starts to happen, it's just a lot of hard work. It's making sure that the clients are happy, that they're comfortable, that the transition goes smoothly. And ultimately, every decision that we make and that the firms that have merged in with us, every decision that they make and that we make has got to be, what's in it for the client? Why is this better for the client? And when you start with that, it's very easy to genuinely talk to a client about how things are going to be better when they become part of the Connecticut Wealth Management family.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And tell me this: when are they all underneath Connecticut Wealth Management, or so the old firms, the name on that one didn't DBA underneath you guys?
No, correct. There's one firm. It's Connecticut Wealth Management. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Because you see, we have so many podcasts. We talk to a lot of people that they allow these one-offs in their business, and I couldn't imagine what type of headache that would be to manage, the different personalities and,
Well, I think, if you ask yourself why you're doing it, again, this is my opinion, nobody else's. And we're not trying to grow for growth's sake. We're not trying to see how big we can get. In fact, we used to say, and I think I'm going to abridge this statement, we used to say, we're not trying to see how big we can get. We're trying to see how small we can stay. And now what I'd like to say is, we're not trying to see how big we can get. We're trying to see how small we can feel. Mm-hmm. So just growth for growth's sake that might benefit the owner, but it doesn't benefit the teammates or the clients. It just seems kind of maybe a little bit greedy. Our growth really it's been natural and organic. And some of it has been designed to create opportunities for the young folks here to become future partners in the organization. That's ultimately that's the model.
So, in when you say the young folks there, and this is just a question I've been starting to ask individuals that during the podcast. Do you guys is it a requirement for them to have a college degree, or are you, or do you, would you hire somebody out of high school that had the passion to do this?
Gosh, that's a great question. So if they're looking to be an advisor, the college degree is required because we require everyone to pursue their CFP. And in order to be a CFP, you have to have a college degree. I think that's an unfortunate part of the CFP program. Honestly, I wish they would change that. We have met with folks that are extremely capable advisors and have all the experience that could be a CFP, but they can't because they didn't graduate college. We have hired many folks here that have not graduated college, a traditional 4-year college, but not in the role of an advisor.
So I want to ask you a little bit about your journey as an entrepreneur, Denis. What do you think are some of the most valuable entrepreneurial lessons that you've learned throughout your journey, and how have they influenced the way that you serve your clients at CTWM?
Oh, boy. Well, the entrepreneurial journey, for those that have taken it or are considering taking it, is phenomenal. It is phenomenally stressful. Can be phenomenally rewarding, but it is phenomenal. I think the first thing that I would say one of my entrepreneurial learnings is genuineness matters a ton, because people can smell it if you're not sincere and if you're not genuine, and they won't trust you to either become a customer, client, or to become a teammate. So I think, just having genuine care for others, it's as simple as holding the door open for someone, or saying God bless you when someone sneezes. It's simple stuff like that. I also think as an entrepreneur, you have to be patient. I think some of the growth that we have had here has been, seeds that were planted years and years ago, and relationships that we have had that were genuine, that you didn't know if they were going to result in anything. You just were nice to people. And I realize as I'm saying this, it all sounds extremely naive. I don't think you need to be, a hardcore business person to be successful and to be happy. And I think, again, back to that genuineness, I think that's probably the most important thing. I will say that setting high standards is really important as well. Setting those high standards and following them yourselves. So what do I mean by that? If we have high service standards, and we have very high service standards here, everyone's got to follow them. You can't make excuses, and I think that hard work is important. We have core values, and one of our core values is grit, and that grit basically means, hey, we've got standards, and you got to hit them. And sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's really hard, but you got to do it, because that's what the business is about. Our standards they center around that genuine kindness, by the way. But so those are some of the biggest ones, I think, as an entrepreneur that I've learned. I do remember the first time it hit me was in our first office that we had, when I walked up to the door at, I don't know, probably 6:30 in the morning, and put the key in and unlocked it. And I looked at the door and I said, oh my gosh, this is my business. It was scary, and it was thrilling at the same time.
And besides some of the marketing, the word of mouth marketing, can you share, maybe some of the strategies or principles that have contributed to the success of your organization there? Obviously, putting forth an exceptional level of service to your clients would be one of them. But what are other things that you think that you guys might be the the contrarian in the market in, or the peacock in the market in?
We've never done seminars. It's not our style. We've never done cold calling. It's not our style. We've never done direct mail. We've done some branding, especially when we started. We hired some PR firms to help with some thought leadership, content, and whether it be locally or online. We have done some branding as it relates to swag. So we do have some swag, and we give that, we're very generous with the swag to our teammates and to our clients. In fact, we just had a kid who is the son of a client, just had a baby last week after, they'd tried for quite a while. And so they were very excited about this baby, as was the now grandmother. And so we sent the baby a onesie with our logo on it, and we happen to have inventory here of that sort of stuff. So it's branding, but it's branding that kind of comes from the angle of just being kind, just being thoughtful. These folks just had a baby, and you know how crazy time that is. So I would say those kind of simple, organic sorts of marketing strategies, but nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. We don't do advertising. We don't do much. We did some advertising at one point. It really didn't generate much. Just for branding purposes more than anything. So the business model makes that holistic financial planning happen. A client story or a customer story I can share with you, and I think it's probably not that unique these days. I'm happy to see the industry is changing a bit, but I had a client who was 82 years old. I had worked with him for about 25 years. And actually, he was 80 years old. It was his 80th birthday. And he invited me to a brunch that they were having for him. the guy had been in broadcasting, and then he had started his own business, and then he had retired. And so he invited me to his brunch, and he got up there on the microphone and said, I want to thank everybody for being here. It's such an important time for me that I've made it to 80. And he was a very sweet, funny guy. And he said, I want to thank Denis Horrigan for making this possible, for making my financial life stable. And I was shocked because all I had done was be kind to this guy, and had tried to be proactive with the planning that we did for him. To me, that is the ultimate compliment, is if you can become part of the family and they trust you, and you're almost like, I was like a son to this guy. Gosh, I mean, this industry is the best, because you get to change people's lives. You have a big impact on people's lives. You can make their lives better. You're there when they're crying. You're there when they're celebrating, and you get compensated for that. It's like that social work that I wanted to do when I came out of college, and teaching and coaching. It just happens to pay a lot better.
As a leader in the financial services industry, what leadership lessons have you learned throughout your career that you'd like to share with other professionals, both within the industry and outside of the industry?
Yeah, so I think I learned some of the lessons I learned not necessarily from business, honestly. I learned them from being involved in team sports and coaching, et cetera. But one of the things I think is very effective, and hopefully comes natural to a lot of folks, is just humility. Don't take yourself too seriously. That humility goes a long way in terms of building relationships with others. There's a great book called Leaders Eat Last, and I think it's a great one for leaders to not just read, but to actually practice. And the idea is that the leader should be the last person in the food line. We do a neat thing here on a regular basis where we have partners breakfast. And that doesn't mean that it's breakfast for the partners. It means that the partners cook breakfast for everybody. And we make bacon and eggs and I'm not a chef, but we've got folks here that are very good in the kitchen. And so we make great meals, and then we serve it. We serve it to the team, the partners do. Cool. Yeah. So I think that allows you to create an environment and a culture where you tend to have trust, you tend to have loyalty. I think you wouldn't be able to do that if you didn't have significant humility. So I think humility is a big one. I think that's a big one. There's another great book out there. It's called Hug Your Customers. And I think it was written by a gentleman down in Southern Connecticut here that had a I don't know if the haberdashery is still a word that's used anymore, but and the whole idea was just hug your customers and treat them like they're gold, because in fact they are. I think that's something that we've been able to embrace here, from the leadership all the way down. I do think that people are watching you when you are behaving in the office and outside the office. And you might not realize it, but in some people's eyes, you're a rock star. It's hard to imagine, but you are in fact a rock star in some people's eyes.
That's really cool. And let me ask you this. Looking ahead, what's your vision for the future of your company there? Where do you guys plan on being in the next, let's call it 3 to 5 years?
I think we're going to continue to grow. I think we're going to continue to attract clients. We are always trying to up our game when it comes to the service that's provided. So one of the things that's happening in the industry years ago, 15 years ago, the big worry was that there was going to be this fee compression. You had the robo-advisors coming out, and they were going to drive fees down to zero. Well, that hasn't happened. But what has happened? I think
that robo-advisor thing it's the same thing they tried to do in the mortgage industry, the robo-loan officers. And I'll tell you this, it worked about, let's just say it didn't.
Yeah. But I think what it did, at least what it's done in our industry, which I think is great, is it's actually increased the amount of value that you have to provide to clients for the same fee. Mm-hmm. So we keep doing more and more and more. Technology has been helpful to allow us to do more and more and more for the same fee. But I think that's what we're going to continue to see, is we're going to get more involved with our clients, lives. We're getting more involved in their children's lives. We get more involved in their hobbies. For us, I think it's the business owner segment of our client population is going to continue to grow, because there's some interesting statistics that we like to quote. One is that there's an organization called the Exit Planning Institute that just came out with a study last week that showed that 75% of small and mid-sized business owners, so 75% of business owners expect to exit their business in the next 10 years.
Yeah. In this space, right?
No, not even in this space. Generally, business owners, manufacturing, construction, you name it. 75% of business owners are going to leave their business in the next 10 years. They need help.
Yeah, tell me about that. Are they going to be selling these companies, or do you think they'll be handing them off is there succession plans going on with their offspring?
Exactly. That's exactly it. And that's what they're trying to figure out. Is many business owners would like to have a family member take over the business, have G2, have the second generation take over the business, or maybe the third generation, but they don't know necessarily how to do it and how to do it well and not kind of blow up the family relationships. As a result, and I listed off all those things that business owners are concerned with, they never get to the planning part of the succession. The idea of succession planning is daunting for many. 75% of business owners want to exit their business in the next 10 years. 50% want to exit in the next 5 years. So they need a plan, and they need help making sure that the business is structured in the appropriate fashion, make sure that they know how much they need to get out of the business to have their financial plan work, make sure they know how to mitigate the tax impact of getting out of their business, make sure they know the impact of their estate plan, everything. They need to know all of that. And that's daunting as heck. So there's this big influx of business owners that are getting ready to exit, and they need help. And so that's one of the things that we continue to get called on to do, is to educate business owner clients about what are the options. Is it internal to a child? Is it internal to management? Is it internal to an ESOP? Is it external to private equity? Is it external to a strategic partner? What are the options that are available to me, and which one makes the most sense for my goals and my financial plan? That's a lot. That's a lot for a business owner to try to take on their own. I think Connecticut Wealth Management in the next 5 or 10 years, I think we are going to be busier than a one-armed paper hanger, trying to work with all these business owners and trying to help them navigate the exit of their business. There's another phrase that we use here a lot, which is exit is inevitable. Every business owner will exit his or her business one way or another, either planned or unplanned. Right. You're going to leave your business. So why not plan for it? Why don't we take the time to actually plan out an appropriate and well-timed exit, rather than crossing your fingers and saying, I've got a plan. This is not a plan.
I totally agree. And that was well said. I really like what you guys are going after. It's probably, I don't think I've heard or we've had a podcast and talked to anybody else that's going after businesses. Maybe we'll edit this clip out so that you don't pass it on.
No, I'm a big fan. I have a big fan of sharing best practices. I have breakfast, lunch with colleagues in this profession almost weekly, because I feel like this is a profession that could use a spit shine. I think if we all share best practices and we elevate the profession, everybody wins. Clients win, the profession wins. So no, I think we would all do well to help each other out to get better.
Really cool. And so let's talk about what specific, is there any specific sectors in the marketplace that you're hot on right now? Any specific stocks? Besides, I understand AI is going to be one of them, right? But what specific sectors are you excited about right now that you think are even being ignored, right?
Yeah, so we're asset allocators. I mean, that's how we manage assets. We are big into asset allocation and sub-asset allocation. We use primarily low-cost investment vehicles, ETFs, index funds. We're not individual stock pickers. We'll leave that to people in New York, London, Tokyo, Boston, who spend 70 hours a week picking stocks. How arrogant are we to think that we can actually outpick those people?
Right.
So we're using mutual funds, ETFs, et cetera. The investment, what I'm excited about in the investment world are a few things. One is access to private equity. So as we've grown, as our firm has grown, we now have access to private equity directly, which we didn't have when we were smaller. They wouldn't take our calls. Now they call us and say, hey, we've got a new fund. Would you be interested in making this available to your clients? And now might be a good time for private equity, or it may not be a good time for private equity. It is a diversifier. It does have low correlation. But just to have that in your toolbox makes us a better advisor. So that's one thing. I think the other thing that we're excited about in the investment world is fee compression on the investment vehicles. They continue to drive fees lower and lower. Good for our clients, may not be good for the asset managers, but I think that's generally going to be a good thing for client outcomes. And I think customization through the use of technology, the ability to customize portfolios has just gone through the roof. You can customize a portfolio for a client that has some stock options or some stock grants that they have around here. Raytheon is a big employer. Cigna is a big employer. United Health is a big employer. We have a lot of insurance and defense manufacturers and service companies. So their portfolios need to be taken care of uniquely. So the customization will make that way more effective. And I think the use of AI will make those sorts of approaches that much easier.
Thank you. I like that. And I like the customization of it, because I'm one of those individuals that, I'm that client. How do I put it this way? I'm that client that my advisor has to remind me of the emotion aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
You say, you don't need to manage your clients. You just need to manage their emotions. I'm that emotional guy that calls up. So I wholeheartedly agree with you there.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this, in conclusion to the questions I've been asking you there, what's your outlook on this economy here? So much has happened in the last, several years, 3-4 years since COVID. We've had some, lots of fluctuation in the market. The market's, roaring right now. We have an election year coming up. We have interest rates that have gone on the 10-year Treasury from 0.5% to 4.5%. What's your outlook there? What do you think is going to be taking place? And do you think it's going to affect this industry positively or negatively?
Well, I think the economy, we're not economists here. And so I'm reading the same stuff that everyone else is. I would tell you, the economy seems strong to me. Our business owner clients' business is good. The imbalance between supply and demand when it comes to employees has changed a little bit. I feel like employers are in the driver's seat now, where a couple of years ago the employee was in the driver's seat. So that's good from an employer standpoint.
I agree.
The thing that really, I wouldn't say it keeps me up at night, but it's a thing that I'm the most focused on is this huge transition of business owner from this generation to the next generation, or that 50% of business owners looking to exit in the next 5 years. They need help. There's a really sad statistic that PwC put out a few years ago, and it is that 75% of business owners, a year after exiting their business, profoundly regret it.
Yeah,
75%. And
I can say that I was one of them. Yeah. Well, looking forward, I'm really happy. I had the opportunity to sell my mortgage company, and we did in 2020. Should I say it was the top? No, I think if I waited a year, that would have been the top. You can never time the top or the bottom.
Right.
And I'm certainly happy to be in this industry. I think for 3 years, I'm going to be 45 pretty soon, right? So I was 41 and a half, 42. And it was, I got to be honest with you, it was a tough time for me. I was like, I was wondering what the rest of my life is going to look like.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Having all that free time was something that was completely uncomfortable for me, and something I could honestly say that I'll never do again. I enjoy working, and getting into this industry was just more of a friend that had introduced
Yeah.
this idea to us. One thing had led to the next, and my twin brother had met Joe Duran, and that's we kind of took off from
Yeah.
there. I'd say we lucked out,
Yeah.
but I think in conclusion there, I'm really happy to be in this industry. So I couldn't
Yeah.
agree with you more.
I think you nailed it there, Mike, by the way. Most people, that 75% number is sad, that 75% of people profoundly regret it. My experience has been it's because they weren't prepared for life after running a business. So on Friday, they're CEO Mike. And on Monday, they're Mike.
Yeah.
And they defined themselves by being CEO.
For years.
They defined themselves, for years. And it takes preparation. It takes some counseling and arm around the shoulder with the client to say, hey, what do it's Monday as a business owner, and you're just trying to get to Tuesday. You're just going crazy, and you're chasing your tail. And then all of a sudden it's quiet. And if you haven't prepared for that quiet, you can absolutely suffer from some pretty serious depression. So we try to work with our business owners. Yeah, we're talking about the structure of succession, the structure of an exit, the tax impact, the estate planning impact, the impact of their financial plan, but it's also the emotional impact. So Monday morning comes around and you're no longer with the company. What are you going to do? I'm going to play golf. Okay, well, that's 4 hours on Monday morning. What are you going to do Monday afternoon? Play more golf? And Monday night and Tuesday? So people need to think through the emotional impact of exiting a business. And I'm afraid that most people, the accountants, the attorneys, the insurance folks, great, well-meaning people, but they miss that. They miss that because they're so focused on the financial details and the legal details that they never actually get to the emotional side of it. And that's as big as anything. What a bummer to sell your business for a bunch of money and be depressed. So
Right.
That's that 50% of business owners looking to exit in the next 5 years, they need some help. They are the lifeblood of this country, small business owners. And we want to make sure that their exit is done thoughtfully and successfully.
Yeah. Yeah. I when you say that you're this the CEO or an owner of the company on Friday, and as you can imagine, when we had sold our company, there was two false exits. Like the deal got pulled at the at the end of the wire 2 times, and then the third time obviously not only went down, but it went down so fast. It was legitimately, hey, we're shutting off your computer in a week. And Ashley, who's worked for me for now 7.5 years, she worked with me in mortgage, right? And it was like, we highly advise you not to have any communication, and it could affect my payout. And it was like they're calling me on Monday because all this news gets dropped, and I'm having to click into voicemail. So it's almost like a integrity issue as well, right?
And right. I mean, it's so much more than just dollars and cents. It's way more. Yeah.
And friends I had in the company that I'd known for 20 years, and then they got axed, within 2 or 3 weeks after after I departed. So, but and get this, my twin brother and I, we owned the building, and then it was like, well, you can only come in the building on Sunday afternoons.
Your building.
Under this time, my building, yeah. So I totally get what you're saying, because you get a lot of restrictions after that when you take money. There in some cases there could be restrictions. So I agree with you. I really thank you. I really, really enjoy your answer there, and I really appreciate everything that you had to say today. I know Ashley has not been able to hop on, but we'll make sure that we'll get everything handled there. And thank you, Denis, for sharing your insights and your experiences with us today. It's been a real pleasure speaking with you. I like taking away things from everyone that we do podcasts with, and I've certainly taken away some bullet points from you on several different topics. And to all of our listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the What Matters podcast. Stay tuned for more inspiring conversations coming up your way. Take care, and until next time.